Okay, let's get started. Thanks everyone for taking to be with us today for this new open house. Um, we are going to be presenting for a little less than an hour. We're just going to try to keep it to an hour. I am Karim Nagar, the CEO of Nucamp, and together with me is Ludo Fourage, who is our Chief Learning Officer and our Chief Product Officer, and he will tell you a little bit more a little later in the presentation.
Hello,
What we
everyone.
want to do today is, hey Ludo, what we want to do today is spend about 30 minutes presenting Nucamp and sharing a little bit about the program, our approach, and some just useful information we hope for you, and then leave enough time, another 30 minutes or so for a Q&A. So you'll be able to ask all your questions through the chat in the YouTube chat window. So even during the presentation, feel free to go ahead and type in your questions, and we'll get to them in the order we receive them. So let's get started. So what is Nucamp? The first thing is that we're a new type of coding bootcamp. We're the most affordable, the most local, and the most flexible online and weekend coding bootcamp available today. And I'll tell you a little bit more about all of these three key attributes in a minute. We have a social mission to help every aspiring career shifter in every community to enter the digital economy. And so we do this by offering quality web development at a much lower price than most other boot camps, making it affordable to everyone, and not just in the big cities, but also in communities that either do not have any offering or a very limited offering in terms of coding boot camps. So if you look at the offerings out there today, there's online, which has been around for a little while, which is very flexible. It's actually very low cost. You can do it at your own pace. So on paper, it's a very attractive way to learn coding. But in reality, what we see is very few people are able to complete the programs. It's really tough to learn to code on your own online. And so just a few will actually manage to just keep the pace and the commitment to go through the program. And so really the only alternative to date was traditional boot camps, which are full-time programs, which are actually great from a just student perspective, because you're committed full-time for 4 or 5 months. All you have to think about is just show up in class and dedicate yourself to it. But the downside is they're pretty expensive. It means you need to quit your job because it's a full-time program. And then they're available mostly in big cities. There's not a lot of offering in smaller communities. And then it's a big risk because at the end of the day, while there are some really compelling employment statistics and placement statistics, the reality is not everybody is assured to get a job. And so, if you're leaving your job to go do that, it's a big risk you're taking. And so Nucamp really emerged from just recognizing that there was a gap and that a lot of people just couldn't go to coding boot camps. So our model is as a hybrid between those two options. It's a format that is online during the week and in person on weekends. So it allows you to continue to work if you have a full-time job or a part-time job. It has the flexibility of online learning during the week, so you really decide when you're going to be studying and really developing your skills. And then it's very fixed in terms of schedule, so it has the structure of the traditional boot camps where you actually have to progress through the curriculum with deadlines on Saturdays to show up at workshops and actually execute the assignments. And with this model, we're able to be much more affordable. We're priced right now at $1,600 for our early bird rate for full stack, which is 15% of the average tuition for boot camps today at $12,000 on average, across the U.S. And then we're able to deliver this in many communities because it's a much lighter weight model. The other benefit is you work in really small groups. Our model is based on groups of maximum 12 students. that are supported by dedicated instructors. So you have a quality of interaction with your instructor and the quality of learning of a small group. All right, let's move on here. So we've been delivering those boot camps now since 2017 in Washington State. We have 5 locations that are live there. So we have quite a bit of experience with this model. We've delivered over 200 workshops, have hired more than 50 instructors. And the exciting thing is that we've now decided to launch this across the US. So if you're here today, it's probably because in your community, we've decided to open and launch in August. August will be a soft launch. We'll see how much response we get, but we're committed to really to deliver Nucamp in all of the locations through 19 and 2020. So what we're doing right now is hiring instructors. We have actually over 35 already hired. We have a little over 100 that are being hired. And we actually have 300 more that are in the pipeline. So we're really staffing up to deliver in each location. And then we're also working with our partners, co-working spaces in those different communities, really to get the best experience from just a student environment perspective. All right, so just a reminder on our offering, we have 3 different boot camps. The first one is our web development fundamentals. It's really an introductory boot camp. It's a short program of 4 weeks. It's designed for people who have absolutely no background in coding, or perhaps have done a little bit of coding in the past, but need to brush up their skills. And it really is a great way to, discover coding, find out if that is something that you'd be excited to do as, a new career, and also just test your how excited you are about going into the advanced programs. We have 2 advanced programs, front-end web development and full stack. And Ludo in a minute will take you through the more detailed curriculum, but those are the programs that basically give you a certificate and the qualifications to go get a junior entry level job in software development, and more specifically in web development. So talking here about the offering, let's move to the format. So the format of the boot camps is very straightforward. It is classes of 4 to 5 weeks, and every week the content for the following week is unlocked. So during the week you go through videos, through exercises, assignments. You also have some additional resources available if you want to explore further, and then you also work on your portfolio project. The work during the week is really designed to prepare for Saturday and the workshop that takes place on Saturday, which is a 4-hour workshop that is in presence, where you will work with other students and, of course, with your instructor. One key message, though, is it's a tough program. We want to set expectations that doing this while working, takes commitment. And Ludo, again, will talk to you a little bit more about how to prepare for that. And so the other key ingredient is our partners. The reason we're able to keep our costs low is because we partner with co-working spaces that really align with our social mission. So they give us, discounted prices for the use of their locations, which allows us, again, to be affordable and give you the best sort of opportunities. But they're really cool places. So that's another important thing. We want to make sure that when you're committing to spend your Saturday morning studying, you do this in an environment that is positive, that just generates the right energy. The other important part is, in many cases, those are environments where you'll see other developers, independent consultants. Some of the co-working spaces are actually really dedicated to software development. And so that's a great way also to network in your community and to start to discover what this community is about if you're new to it. All right, so with this, I'm going to turn it over to Ludo, who is going to dive a little deeper into the actual curriculum.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ludo Farage. I'm the Chief Learning Officer for Nucamp. Previously, I was leading the Microsoft curriculums as well as the Microsoft certifications. So the very first thing I want to share with you regarding our curriculum here is it's really a connected series of 5 different modules. If you look back at the slide that Karim shared earlier, the very first module, the web fundamentals, is right here, really to introduce the rest of the curriculum. And then the other thing to notice immediately is our full stack program also includes front end. And so basically, if you want to do the whole thing from beginning to end, you would want to register to the web fundamentals bootcamp and then continue on to the full stack bootcamp, and you will have done the whole thing. Now, if you go in details into that curriculum, you'll notice that it's really built around JavaScript. And JavaScript, for the past 5 years, has been identified as the #1 programming language used on the web. And the reason for that is actually that JavaScript is the only language that you can use as on the to develop a website, to develop a mobile application, but also to develop what we call the backend. So handling everything about user authentication, accessing databases and things like that. And so that's really why JavaScript is so popular and has been popular for actually the best of the last 15 years, but even so over the last 5 years, really taking over the web and being the #1 language. And so our curriculum really is based on JavaScript. And now if I go into the very first module of our full stack and front-end bootcamp, we introduce you to Bootstrap. Bootstrap, as you can imagine, it is a JavaScript-based framework. And what it does is it will allow you to build websites that will show, that will actually display very well on a laptop, on a TV, for example, a big screen, but also using the same code display very well on a mobile device or tablet. That is called responsive design. Pretty much what it means is you're going to write your code once, and then Bootstrap will make that look and feel adapt to the screen size. What's great about Bootstrap is it's very easy to use. It's a great introduction to the world of web development. But it has some limitation, which is it really doesn't do so well with what I would call dynamic handling of data or situations or user behaviors. And so that really is what React brings. React is 3 years old, but has really taken over the world of JavaScript. It was originally designed by Facebook engineers, and it brings what to JavaScript what Bootstrap is lacking today, which is that ability to react to dynamic events in your application. Meaning, for example, you need to fetch a list of products to display to a user so that he can purchase those products. You need to be able to handle a cart. You need to be able to handle user authentication on the website. So all of that really is handled by React. The good news is React is using Bootstrap for everything that's about responsive design and showing something nicely on the laptop as well as on the mobile device. So that's React. At this stage, you really have spent a lot of time building a website. And what's actually quite exciting is React Native now takes that code that you've built, takes that website that you've built, and allows you to package it as a mobile application that you could then be publishing onto the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. That's pretty insane if you think about it. Pretty much you're taking a website, packaging it, shipping it as an app, and your users will never know that it started as a website. It will really look and feel like an app. And that's the power of React Native. That's really why we also teach that, that framework. So these 3 modules here mark the end of the front-end bootcamp. If you add the next module, the backend module, you will really go into what we describe as being a full stack developer, meaning you will then start to work with databases, you will work with authentifying users, you will work with security, you will work with handling a database of products or carts and things like that. And so that last module is really teaching you what we call Node.js, which is very much JavaScript on the server. And with that, you will have actually all the skills required to be what we call a unicorn developer and pretty much build things from beginning to end. If I go back to the title, this whole curriculum is actually supported by what we call a learning project. And so every module and every week of that module builds upon the previous one, which is also one of the nice things that we do and is not that common in the industry. You will really build up your expertise and your knowledge as you go through the curriculum, and it will not be disjointed. It will be really cohesive and connected. Now, we have more than just a learning project. Starting with Bootstrap and front-end and full stack, we also ask you to work on your own project, and it's called the portfolio project. You can do that in group or in solo. It's preferred to do it in groups because one of the things you're going to want to be able to demonstrate is your ability to work with other developers. And so working on a project in a group is preferred, and we actually structure it that way. But you will have then really 2 to 3 portfolio projects throughout that curriculum that I showed earlier. One starting with Bootstrap, and you'll actually start to draw the design of your website. And then you'll switch over to React, and then optionally switch again over to React Native. I say optionally because there's a lot of work involved, and sometimes students really prefer to finish their React project versus stopping in the middle of it and then transitioning to React Native. So it's really a choice of yours. At the end, obviously, if you're in the full stack bootcamp, you will want to connect what you've built before with the backend. And so that will be the finalization of your portfolio project. Karim, I'll hand it over to you to discuss the bootcamp schedule if you want.
Yeah, sure. So our schedule is as follows. We're going to start in August with Web Fundamentals. It's going to be, a first Web Fundamentals course that we're offering right now in all of the locations across the US, but we haven't really started aggressive advertising, and so not all of the locations might be starting on August 5th. So we have a second program on September 9th, also Web Fundamentals, where that will probably be a little bit more visible. And then we will have our first front-end and full stack starting in October, with students that either have gone through the Web Fundamentals or feel ready to just jump into those advanced programs right away. And then beyond that, our goal is to be offering a new Web Fundamentals program every 5 weeks, and to offer a front-end and full stack program every 10 weeks. So specifically, if you're really interested in the front end or the full stack, and you want to do this in 2019, don't miss that October 7th start, because the one after that will be starting in January. And then perhaps later on we'll comment on what happens if we don't have enough students and things like that. But pretty sure this will come up in the Q&A. Hey, Ludo, can't hear you.
There we go. I need to unmute myself. Great. So thank you, Karim. So obviously, Karim and I can't spend a lot of time telling you all about why we're proud about Nucamp and what we've accomplished with our instructors and what we've accomplished helping other students. You can see some of that on our testimonials that are published on Course Report as well as Switch Up. But we thought really what's best probably is for you to hear it directly from our students in one of our first locations in the state of Washington, Marysville. So this is a 1.5 minute video that I will play right now, and I'll hope you'll enjoy it. So give me some time to set it up. There we go, and we should be ready to go.
I wanted to look at a career opportunity that would be lucrative. And Nucamp kind of popped up, and I liked it a lot more than the other ones. I liked that it was more flexible. I didn't have to quit my current job.
They're basically very student-friendly.
And our instructor is awesome, Minay, and she's just really helpful, really above and beyond.
She's very helpful, and every time when I have a question, I can ask her and she can respond. The careers basically has no end. You can grow and grow.
I was really excited. Yeah, in fact, I mean, if anything, I was wanting to do more.
But I really like the way it's been this hybrid learning process.
I love that. I love that it's during the week, because I wouldn't have been able to do it if I had to meet every single day. So I love that I can find childcare on Saturdays, and the rest of the week it's online. But yeah, sometimes I'm doing my homework and I get all excited. I'm like, this could be my life. So it's kind of cool.
All right, we're back. We are now ready to answer your questions. Karim and I are here. We'll be monitoring the YouTube chat. Unfortunately, since this is a broadcast, you can't really ask us questions directly via video or audio, but we are both on the feed. And so waiting for your questions.
So I see first quick question here and is around the workshops. How does it work? Do you meet at a specific location? So again, just to clarify that one, yes, on Saturdays, the students meet together with their instructors from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. In a location that's usually a co-working space that we try to select because it's easy to get to, and just because it also offers a really cool environment. And then finally, usually because there's some sort of focus on coding, making coding available. A lot of our partners are excited about our social mission and helping more people to get into coding. So that's the type of location we're looking for. So every Saturday, it will be the same location and the same group of students.
I see Joe here saying, I love React. And I have to agree, Joe. I'll share something about Nucamp and myself. I also love Angular. And actually, before teaching React, our curriculum was based on Angular. But so many of our students and actually hiring companies are switching to React that we decided to do that move as well. But go React, go Angular, and go Vue as well.
And Jose, I can see that you're asking about an admission process. Is there something that needs to be completed to be accepted? Is there some sort of filter to accepting students into our classes? And the answer is no. We believe that it's your choice, your decision to attend this program. We do not want to put any barrier. If you feel that you're ready for the challenge. The one thing we do is we suggest you take a test, an online test that's actually available through our FAQ for the advanced program. And so that test just allows you to measure yourself and see, evaluate if you're ready or not, but it's actually not mandatory, and it's your decision, again, to take the program or not. And then, so yeah, there were specific questions on some locations, in Dallas in particular. I just want to jump on this opportunity to mention that we're still finalizing some locations. So if you go to the website and to your community, you might still see 2 or 3 potential locations, and that's because we're talking to them, and it's a short list that we're evaluating. But it will give you an idea of the type of locations that we're considering. And then in some locations we've already finalized, and you will see only that one location where the classes are actually confirmed to take place. So again, just go to the website and you'll see that, that information out there. Of course, we're always available through chat and our info@nucamp.co email if you have more detailed questions.
I see a question from Evan regarding the laptop that will be needed. So, and then a second question after that. So the laptop, typically what we say is you can bring either a PC or Mac laptop. Any of those that will be 3 years old or earlier will work. For a PC laptop, you don't want to get really the first budget laptops. You want to get a laptop that will cost approximately $500 as new. That means a minimum of 8 gigs of RAM and a decent CPU. Typically an Intel i5 would work. Really, the laptop is going to be okay up to the last module of full stack when we teach you the backend, because that's when you're going to actually run a front-end website and a back-end server on your laptop, and that's going to really strain it. So it's going to be okay up to that moment, and $500, a $500 laptop will kind of work. The second part of your question, Evan, is incentive or discount towards the full stack program if you complete the fundamental course. There is, for actually everyone, an early bird discount to register to the full stack program. And so no specific incentive if you completed the fundamentals. The incentive, I would say, will be, hey, you're ready now, you're motivated, you think you can actually continue with passion, and that is kind of our incentive. But otherwise, 2 weeks prior to the bootcamp, you still have access to an early bird discount, which is approximately 15% off.
Yeah, the next question is also for you, Ludo, I think. Can you comment on, Joe's question?
Yes. I feel like I have the pieces, but I don't know how to put them together. Joe, your comment is what we hear a lot from people who've really invested the time online, gone through several online courses, may or may not have finished any one of them, gone through some tutorials, and at the end of the day, it's quite hard to make any sense of it and have a sense of accomplishment. And that's what we provide, indeed, with our bootcamp. As I mentioned, you have a series of really well-defined modules that take you from A to Z. And at the end, you will have produced a fully fleshed learning project that you could actually put online, and it will work. It will do the website front end, it will do the back end, handling databases, doing some what we call REST APIs. But you will have also built your own portfolio project following that structure. And so, yes, it does give you that structure and that feeling of accomplishment that after a 6 months investment, you can put a stamp behind it. You know exactly what you've accomplished.
Okay, I'm going to take Joe's other question on, is Las Vegas confirmed? That's an opportunity just to talk more broadly about how we confirm our classes. So Las Vegas is confirmed for sure in terms of our commitment to deliver classes in in the city of Las Vegas. What we still need to work on is getting enough students in a given class to confirm a class in particular. So right now we've set the bar at 6 students minimum for a class to occur, to take place. We're working to see if we can lower that bar even a little bit more, down to 5 or even 4, depending on the costs we have. But basically, that number is what's needed for to operate just at cost. And then also to make sure that there's a good student experience, because if there are too few students, then it's not as good an experience for the students themselves, regardless of whether it's financially viable for Nucamp. So what happens if we're below that number is we roll over the students to the next class, which is 5 weeks later for the web development program. And we do that automatically, so no action is required. We understand that may be a disappointment, so we're actually also considering a refund, a partial refund of 10% for that first rollover, just to thank you for your patience if you've been rolled over. But in any case, if that doesn't work for you, and you have another option, or simply the dates are not good ones for you, you can simply cancel and get a full refund. We understand that that's not your initial choice, so you'll be fully refunded, no questions asked. And again, our goal is to try to offer this as in many cities as possible, because we want this program to be available. But we're starting in many cities, and not all cities will really be able to deliver classes in August. So I hope you can understand that. But for the long term, yes, we're committed. We have everything set up, the recruiting of instructors, the location, scale up to deliver in all our locations in 2019 and 20. And then there's a question on career services and job support. I can take this one, and
yeah,
Ludo, I think we can take the next one.
Yeah.
So we have an online program for just sort of career development that is a 6-week program that actually part of the curriculum. So that's at no additional cost. It's online, and it will take you through the basics of networking, of preparing your resume, preparing for interviews. So it'll give you a good sort of overall course on how to get ready for your interviews as you get closer to the end of the boot camp. We don't offer in-person career placement programs. Again, our focus is really on delivering the skills that you need and maintaining our costs as low as possible, as affordable as possible. But again, with the right skills that you're going to be developing, and with this online program, you should be in a good spot to go out and job search. And if that's not enough, there's always other options that you can take outside of ours to help you with that.
Great. Yes. So Jose, I'm reading your question about doing a program from Udemy to learn on your own, but then also looking into Udacity, and if we have any feedback on what sets us apart. First, it's great. I would say that 95% of our students have started like you have online, trying to really figure out if that's something that they like, that they want to do. I'll talk about Udemy a little bit. Udemy is a great platform. It has many great instructors. The challenge, as you've probably experienced, is you pay $25 and then suddenly you're given access to 200 worth of content, and you don't know how you're going to go through those 200 hours of content, and that's pretty tough. That's a common challenge of online learning, is you have that much available to you, great quality, but finding a way to stay committed is the biggest hurdle. Now for Udacity, I would say that Udacity is one of the best online player out there in terms of curriculum and how they think about education as well. Like us, they really think about education, and they really think about what it takes for someone to actually learn something, not just in an hour, but over the course of 6 months. And I would say, if you are in New York, Udacity has actually started to implement something that looks like what we do, but they've only started in one location. And I will say, Jose, to answer your question, that's really what differentiates us with Udacity is we do believe that there is no pure online solution that works. You can't stay committed and you can't make sense of learning just online on your own, especially over a period of 5 to 6 months. And despite what Udemy does well, despite what Udacity does well, they're still pure online players. And from the beginning, we've decided to really not be an online player or pure online player. We realize from a pedagogy standpoint that you have to be in a structure that means with local students, with local instructors. You have to mix learning online and meeting in person to make it work. And so that's really what sets us apart. It's that fundamental belief that you can't be successful just learning online. You have to have a local structure as well.
So let me maybe add on this as well, because we haven't talked a lot about our instructors, and they're really a big part of the Nucamp model. I would argue that our instructors is really what sets us apart from many other players. So to tell you a little bit more about them, um, all of our instructors are usually full-time software developers or part-time software developers that teach on the side of their other activities. We actually do not want anyone to be working full-time for Nucamp. The reason is we want people that are practitioners, that are plugged in the actual software development industry, because they will bring the practical approach, a very hands-on, job-oriented, type of support that will really help students be prepared for a job, not just skills or academic skills. And that's pretty different from many other boot camps out there. Our instructors are teaching with us because they want to give back, they want to share with others. They're usually involved in local groups, and we compensate them, but they're definitely not here for the paycheck. So that's a really big thing. And if you talk to students, you'll hear over and over again how their instructors are really committed to help them. And I see there's a question actually around the level of support. It's important to set expectations. Our instructors usually have a job, so they won't be able to answer within 5 minutes or 30 minutes, or maybe not even within a few hours, but they're committed to getting back to students online during the week, over the course of the day, or if it's in the evening by the next day. That's part of the expectations. Usually they do it a lot faster. They manage to give a few tips if it's easy enough to unlock a person, as quickly as possible. So you'll have support for sure. You won't get stuck. And then when you get to the workshop, well, you got a whole 4 hours where the instructors are really here to coach, to help, to not just give you the answers, but show you how to get to the answers. I wanted to cover that as well.
Great. Hey, I see your point, BMAC, about being interested in the Elgin community. You can stay in touch by clicking the interested button online. What it does, it will actually send you an email when someone is registering or is also interested. But if you're really interested, you can simply register today. It's going to really help us define and decide if we're going to have enough students to get started. And there's really no risk involved for you, meaning you can decide to cancel your registration. If we have to roll you over to September, then you can also cancel there. So if you're that close to registering and just not sure quite yet, actually registering now will be a no risk option for you if you wanted to do that.
And then I see a question here on, is there an issue? Is it an issue if I can't make one of the Saturday sessions? So, for example, Web Fundamentals is 4 weeks. If you miss one Saturday session, that's probably okay. There's a way to catch up. You'll have to sort of work to go through the assignment. You can probably let your instructor know. So it has happened, and if you're serious enough during the week, it should not be an issue. But again, the value of the whole course is to be physically present. So over 4 weeks, you don't want to miss 2 weeks or 3 weeks for sure, because I think it sort of defeats the purpose of this particular program.
Great. Teresa is asking about our class and instructors staying connected during the week via Slack or another way. And that's actually a great question. So first, yes, indeed, you are connected with one another, both other students in your class and your instructor via Slack, but also a dedicated forum in our learning environment. And I will add to that we actually give you the best of both worlds in a way that you can engage with the students that are in your classroom and your instructor, but you also have access to all the other students in other communities that are going through the exact same course or bootcamp that you are at the same time. And so suddenly, really, you have access to maximum 12 students working in a small group, but then really a much broader community that you can engage with throughout the US. So that's something that actually our students value very much. And very often we also see students say, hey, I'm moving from Seattle to Dallas, and they know they're gonna find a Nucamp community there.
All right, so BMAC, I see just a message on hiring and developing Nucamp there. So yeah, we'll make sure to follow up on that.
Great.
All right, do we have more questions? Okay, I think we've covered most of your questions.
I think so.
See if there's anything popping up, but if not, I want to thank you all again for taking the time to be with us today. I know it's a big decision. We know it's a big decision for you to commit to a boot camp. I would say, however, that starting with the web fundamentals, if you've not really done a lot of coding before, or if you simply want to brush up your skills and get to know Nucamp and see if the Nucamp model works for you, is probably a low risk approach and something you should consider. And before we wrap up, I see one last question here from Greg. So what happens when you've paid and you can't get your session? So again, let's say you've registered to the August 5th bootcamp, and then there are not enough students for us to be able to deliver the course. Then you'll get an email that will basically tell you, well, first of all, apologize and tell you that you've been automatically scheduled for the September, I think it's 9th session.
Correct.
And also telling you that, we are going to give you a 10% refund because, we'd like to compensate you for that delay. And we understand it's not initially what you had planned for. So that's the default, situation. But if you do not want to be rolled over, you can just go to the website, and it's a self-serve. You go to your profile, you click cancel, and you get automatically fully refunded. So, if moving to the next session is not something you want, you don't have to call. It's not difficult. You just go online, click, and you get 100% refunded. So again, no risk whatsoever there. We want to make it simple. We understand that for many, if not all of you, you're doing this in addition to other activities, and you're trying to fit this into your schedule. So moving to the next session might not work for you. So again, we want to make it simple for you to cancel.
And yeah, I'll actually follow up on Greg's follow-up question. Yes, we actually can do that as well. If you are lucky enough to live in between a few communities, and one actually cannot start, but the other is starting, then we can move your registration to that other community. And so in your example, Greg, yes, we'll be able to move your registration from where you registered today, and I don't know that you mentioned that, but then move that over to Chicago, and you'll then be able to start. So yeah, that would not be an issue, and it will be done at no cost.
All right, everyone. Well, again, thanks for being here with us today. I want to just mention that the early bird rate is going to expire on Monday for the August 5th Web Fundamentals session. So if this is something you're interested in, make sure to register before Monday, because after that, the price goes up and it would be a pity. So take advantage of that. And again, we hope to see many of you in one of our boot camps, and we're always available online to answer any follow-up questions. With that, we wish you all a great rest of your day. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Take care.